Welcome to the Jay Tyner Show, where we discuss all things wealth management and retirement planning. And as always, the goal of our team here at Semmax Financial Group is to help you focus more on your life and less on your money. Now, as a reminder, check with your current advisor, planner, CPA, and read our disclosure in the video description below. Subscribe to this channel if you want to stay up to date on all of our new content. And by the way, if you have questions or need a 15-minute free consultation, please visit semmax.com or call 336-856-0080.
Hello and welcome. My name is Matt Landon. I'm joined by Larry VanLandingham. We're two of the advisors here at Semmax Financial Group. And today, what I want to do is take a few minutes and shed a little bit of light on something that we've probably heard about our whole lives, but may not really understand. So let's talk about indices. Stock market index. What did the index do today? What is an indices? What does all of this mean? You might have heard about the S&P 500. You may have heard about the Dow Jones or the Nasdaq or the DAX, and there's others. But let's just take those first three. S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq. Any order you want. What the heck are these things, and why do I care? Right. Let's just start with what they are.
Okay, well, what they are is the Dow Jones is widely followed. However, it is only the top 30 companies in the United States. It is that way primarily because way back in the day, they would run across the street to the newspaper so everything could be calculated and put in the newspaper so that they could only do 30.
So this was before you had a smartphone. This is before you could pull it out and just knock out, calculate what it was.
Right.
So they just ran over, they had 30 stocks, and they said, all right, this one, this one, this one. You could do the numbers longhand.
Right.
Right? And then kick it out to the newspaper. So it's been around for a long time.
It has. And the fact of the matter is, you know, everybody watches the Dow. It's the first one that they talk about on the news and all that kind of stuff, but it's really not a great indication of where everything's going.
Right.
It's not wide enough.
So let's go a little bit bigger. Let's go with the Nasdaq.
Okay, the Nasdaq, that is primarily where your technology stocks lie. And there are several stocks involved in this one. The reality of this is as well, it follows that sector primarily, and it's still not wide enough to be, you know, indicative of where everything's going.
So let's go a little bigger. S&P 500.
The S&P 500. It's 500 plus of the biggest companies in the United States. It is, the index covers all 500. It's a pretty decent idea of what we have as far as where everything's going and tracking everything. However, there are others, the Russell 2000, that we won't really get into that, but it just gets wider and wider.
Yes, and so that's the key thing you got to keep in mind with these index, these index choices. So let's actually, since you mentioned it, Russell 2000 stocks going to be smaller cap, meaning the size of the company. So we're looking at the relative companies. So they've started to carve up all of these different indexes, and you can go into depth. And the DAX, which I'd mentioned earlier, that's actually looking at Germany, for example. There's one for most countries that are out there. So when we're talking about these different indexes, you really want to think through, why am I caring? What is this really about? Well, here's what you can see. If everything's green, it usually means markets are going up. Everything's great. But if it's down, it can go the opposite way. You see red, or things aren't looking too hot. I think it's important to understand which index we're looking at and why. So for example, if you notice the Dow is flat, but the Nasdaq just went off a cliff, well, that usually means something happened in the technology sector. Right? Same thing holds true for the S&P 500. One thing you want to keep in mind when you're looking at these indices is the relative strength of each position inside of there. They're not all calculated the same way. And I'll give you an example. If one stock goes up 5%, another stock goes down 5%, you would say it's net neutral. Nothing's happened. But what if this stock, 5% represented an $800 shift? And this stock, a 5% shift, represented a $4 loss. Is everything really equal? Is it parity? Depending on how the index that you're looking at is calculated, it might show a massive gain because of that relative strength of those dollars, or it might show as nothing because it was 5% and 5%. So when you look at these indexes, don't look at them as more than what they are. They're an indication, they're a guideline of how things are going. If you ask me, is 200 degrees a lot? My first question would be, are we talking about Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Right.
My next question would be, are we talking about, okay, let's say we go with Fahrenheit. Now, Larry, is 200 degrees Fahrenheit hot?
Very.
Is it?
Very.
Because if I had my oven at 200 degrees, how long are those cookies going to take?
Okay, all right. Right.
But if we're talking about
Relative.
outside, that's blistering.
Right, okay.
I kind of set you up there a little bit.
Yes, you did, a little bit.
But the reason why is this. We all are bringing preconceived notions of what something means. 200 degrees Fahrenheit, if you're talking about stepping outside, yeah, that is scorching. That's getting into, I can't be out here for more than a few seconds. But when we're talking about trying to cook a pot roast, well, we're going to be there all day. Or cookies for that matter.
Right.
So it's the same thing with these index. Look at the index, understand, okay, it's green, it's red, but you really want to tie it to, how does this relate to my portfolio? Or does it have any connection to my portfolio at all? Because it may not. With that said, if you have questions around it, if you want to learn more about why it matters as far as how it connects to your individual portfolio, or why you might want to make a change, inside of annuities, you can look at them and you might want to change which one you're looking at. Don't hesitate to give us a call. You can reach us here at the office. We're also available. Drop a line. Thanks for watching. On behalf of Larry, myself, and the whole Semmax team, we hope you have a wonderful day.